Well, hi everybody, it's great to be back. I'm going to disagree that it's vanilla and French vanilla. I think all the Democrats are rocky road. I'm here to talk, let me see, can we get this? Can you hear me okay? Okay. I'm here to talk about building a coalition for a problem-solving agenda. I want to walk away just for 10 minutes from labels, away from Republican, Democrat, away from liberal, conservative, away from left, right. Every eligible voter is a potential customer for a problem-solving agenda. Every eligible voter is a customer for a better future. We have to start looking at our opposition as people who are our neighbors and our friends, and sometimes in our own family. How's Thanksgiving at your house? We have to win them over on the issues. And in the spirit of bipartisanship, which I don't normally indulge in, I'm going to quote Bill Clinton, and I don't do that often. Bill Clinton said, "All elections are about the future." And he's right about that. We can look in the rearview mirror, we can say, well, we didn't win here before and we're never going to win here again. And that's wrong, because the issues change and sometimes the people change. Sometimes people move and they're in different neighborhoods and they don't know what happened in the last election, and they don't really care what happened in the last election. What are they concerned about in the future? Think like a suspense writer. Where's the danger for the voter when you knock on that door? And what's coming up for California voters that is scary, and you can scare them. All you have to do is tell them what Sacramento is doing, and it will scare them. It's very simple. They are attacking Proposition 13. They are raising the cost of utilities, electricity, gas, and water, and wages in this state are going down. Those three things are the present and the future under the current government. And every voter you talk to, even if they're not yet registered, can be motivated to register on those issues. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on. Bonds under Prop 13 take a 2/3 vote to pass, except for education bonds, because 1,000 to make them pass with 55%. And the Democrats in Sacramento would be great for infrastructure and libraries and community development and just about anything else they want to borrow money for. They think it should be 55%. Well, guess what? If they get 2/3 in the state Senate and 2/3 in the state Assembly for these constitutional amendments to make bonds pass with 55% instead of 2/3, once it gets on the ballot, it only needs a simple majority to pass, because it's not itself a tax increase. They can get 51% for something that sounds like it's going to build wonderful roads and libraries. They can always get 51%, 50% plus one vote. We have to tell people what happens when constitutional amendments like that pass in the legislature. Their property tax bills go up. It's not directly an attack on Proposition 13 because it's not touching the assessment, but those charges at the bottom, schools, 911, roads, this, that, those bills go up and up. They'll go up after every election. A couple of years of that, people will be losing their houses. That's an attack on homeowners. That's an attack on California voters. That's something we should be talking to them about. And there's also a plan for a surcharge on high-value properties, which is going to hit businesses. And of course, you've all heard about the plan for the split roll, which many people in Sacramento are pushing. Now, personally, I think even the conversation about raising taxes, property taxes on businesses, is enough to cause a recession in California. Who's going to come here and open a business while Sacramento is talking about this? Every year, your property taxes as a business are going to go up on top of everything else that California is hitting you with. And let's talk about the cost of utilities and this monstrous cap-and-trade extension that was just done. It makes electricity more expensive. It makes gasoline more expensive. It makes diesel more expensive. The cost of everything that's made or moved in the state of California is more expensive, along with your own electric bill, your own water bill. Water's moved around the state with electric pumps in California. So you have to be careful, because when electricity rates go up, so do water rates. And sometimes they say, oh, don't worry about it, the taxpayers don't pay this, this is paid by the ratepayers. Does anyone here use water? It's the same people. You have to listen for that, and you have to tell your neighbors when this is going on, that this climate agenda that they're voting for and they're supporting and they think is great because they think it's saving the earth isn't doing anything for the climate. All of California is only 1% of all the global greenhouse gas emissions on the planet Earth. Did you know that? We could shut down the whole state. Forget 40% below 1990 levels by 2030. We could shut down the state. We could turn off all the generators. We could park all the cars. We could shoot all the cows. It would have no effect at all on the global climate. But it's made electricity rates 30% higher in California than the national average. It's made gasoline $1 a gallon higher, and it's going to get worse because the cap and trade program was just extended. We can talk to our neighbors about that. These are policies they should not be supporting. The people who voted for those policies, they should not be supporting. We have to show them the connection between the bills they're paying and the votes that put those bills in their mailbox. And while we're on the subject of cap and trade, let's talk about wages going down. You know, this year in January, revenue missed. Revenue was lower than expected the previous June. And why was it? Because it turns out that over the last 4 years, the percentage of wage growth, salary and wage growth, from high-wage jobs, which was expected to be about 50%, was only like 36%. The rest of it was low-wage jobs. Industrial jobs in California are disappearing. What coincides with 4 years? Why, cap and trade. It started in 2012. And by 2016, revenue was missing in Sacramento because people were not making those high salaries that pay income taxes. They were making low salaries that don't pay income taxes. And revenue missed again in May. And that time it was sales tax. Why? Well, the finance director told us on an editorial board call, it seems that people were just not making purchases in California at the rate that was projected. Well, why is that? Suddenly people don't need anything? Have we all given up materialism? Everybody here join a commune and stop buying things? I didn't think so. Turns out, wages were lower. Wages were adjusted lower. Sales tax revenue missed. This is called poverty. This is a declining standard of living in California. This is because of this totally unnecessary climate agenda, this cap and trade agenda. People want to buy a house. You can't build housing tracts where you used to because we have an anti-sprawl law on the books. SB 375 from 2008, the Sustainable Communities Act, makes it very difficult to build houses in outlying areas because it creates vehicle miles traveled for people to get to work. And that means that you can't build these housing developments. Well, what's happening in California? We're building less housing. We're standing on our own oxygen hose in this state. This is not necessary. This climate agenda, even if you accept that climate change is real, that it's catastrophic, that it's all our fault, for the sake of argument, let's say that's all true. This stuff doesn't do anything about it, except raise your electricity bill, raise your gasoline costs, raise the cost of everything that's moved, including food, in California. Does anybody here eat? Well, if you eat and you vote, you should be voting for somebody else, not the majority party in Sacramento, because they're the ones doing this to you. So let me talk a little bit about how you reach people who don't know that they need to be reached on these issues because they don't know what's causing the problem. Every voter, every eligible voter is a potential customer for a better future. Door hangers should have the election date, the candidates. It should have the county website where you can look up your polling place. It should have the site on the State Secretary of State's website where you can register to vote. When somebody gets that door hanger and they see the problems, they see wages are going down, they see utility costs are going up, they see Proposition 13 being attacked, and maybe they'll lose their home to higher property taxes. They want to know what to do about it. Right there on the door hanger, right there on the literature. The election date, the candidate's name, where your polling place is, and if you're not registered, how to register to vote. Every door, every voter is a potential customer for a better future. So in conclusion, I would like to tell you to stay focused on the goal. Tune out the noise. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of propaganda against conservatives. Tune it out. Don't respond to it. Don't let it get to you. Stay focused on the goal. And cancel the U-Haul. And keep the faith. Thank you very much.